Colonel Jarod P. Blecher will relinquish command to Colonel Christopher J. Carnduff. Throughout today's ceremony, you will be given various cues to stand and be seated. For the purpose of military protocol, today's ceremony is considered an indoor ceremony. All military personnel will stand at attention during the national anthem. We invite our civilian guests to stand and place their right hand over your heart. Before we start today's activities, we would like to take this opportunity to recognize some special and distinguished guests that are in attendance. Please hold your applause until everyone has been introduced. Special guest of Colonel Carnduff is his spouse, Colonel Mary Carnduff, incoming 412th Medical Group Commander. Special guests of Colonel Blecher are his spouse, Miss Lisa Blecher, their sons Mark and Alex, and daughters Elena and Alicia. Our distinguished visitors in attendance are Mission Support Group Honorary Commander, Mrs. Sandra Avery, and her husband, Bart Avery. Mrs. Tiffany Duke, AFES Exchange Service Business Manager. We also welcome our Edwards Air Force Base senior leaders in attendance today. From the 412th Test Wing, Chief Master Sergeant Justin Stolfus, Command Chief, and his wife, Mrs. Jessica Stolfus. Mr. Daniel Osborne, Senior Technical Director. From the 412th Mission Support Group, Mr. Brian Ledke, Technical Advisor. Chief Master Sergeant Jermaine King, Senior Enlisted Leader. We would also like to extend a special welcome to all commanders, directors, chiefs, current and former senior leaders, colleagues, friends, and co-workers who have come to pay special tribute to Colonel Blecher and Colonel Carnduff. Ladies and gentlemen, please join us in a round of applause for all of our distinguished guests. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the arrival of the official party and remain standing for the presentation of the colors, the singing of our national anthem by Master Sergeant Marshall Merriweather, and the invocation by Chaplain Heather Bodwell.
Stand by. Room attention. Post the colors.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
at ease. In accordance with your faith tradition, I invite you to prayer. Let us pray. Gracious God, on this day we recognize the gift of leadership. We thank you for the leadership of Colonel Jarod P. Blecher and the direction and guidance he has provided the 412th Mission Support Group. Deliver him and his wife Lisa and their children Mark, Alex, Elena, and Alicia safely to their new adventures in Florida. May you give him continued wisdom, strength, and courage in his next role. We thank you for the safe arrival of our new commander, Colonel Christopher J. Carnduff, and his wife Mary and their children. We ask that you give Commander Colonel Carnduff continued wisdom, strength, and courage to provide the leadership necessary to the men and women of the 412th Mission Support Group. Be his constant source of support and inspiration in the days, weeks, and months to come. Continue to guide and protect these men and women of the 412th Mission Support Group. Bless also the leadership of Edwards Air Force Base, our nation, and our Commander-in-Chief. Bless also the fellowship and refreshment after the ceremony. And we pray these things in your holy name. Amen.
Thank you, Blue Eagles Honor Guard, Master Sergeant Merriweather, and Chaplain Bolwell. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. It is my honor to introduce the commander, 412 Test Wing, Colonel Douglas P. Wicker.
All right, well, good morning and welcome again to the 412th Mission Support Group. Change of command. Sergeant Merriweather, where'd you go? Oh my goodness. So every single time, I think there's absolutely no way he is going to top what he has previously done. That was absolutely So I want to welcome everybody. I got my partner in command, Chief Stoltz, and his bride here. Dano and Mike, Papa Roche, thanks for coming over. AB, Joel, Money, these are all your fellow commanders that you'll meet, as well as I think there's maybe another 2B fellow commander here in the front row, Mary. Welcome. Thanks to the Military Family Readiness Center, they can probably hear me, for letting us crash and host, do the things here. Of course, these things just don't happen, right? There's a lot of things behind the scenes, so I think Lieutenant Kinley, I think you might have had your hand in that, as well as Sergeant Hasenberg. Thank you. And of course, if I start listing names, I'm going to forget some. So I'll say a blanket thank you to everybody that helped put together just what's going to be a class act here. Colonel Bodwell, Heather, there you are. Another beautiful invocation. We don't have many more that you get to do. So everyone I count as a blessing, everyone, if I'm not permitted to do so. Let's see. I also want to say just what an honor it is to take a moment, be on stage here with Colonel Blecher and Colonel Carnduff. These are two outstanding airmen, and it's just going to be exciting to kind of take a look at the Mission Support Group, take a look at what Colonel Blecher's done, and where Colonel Carnduff is going to take it over here. For everybody that's out there in Zoom land, I think Jackson may be watching us. Maybe we're split screen with something else that's maybe more interesting in YouTube. But at some point in time, he'll go back. I know Diana probably wishes that she was here as well, but Lisa, Elena, Alex, Alyssa, and Mark, how's that boomerang throwing coming? Is it coming back? All right, keep practicing. All right, good. And of course, a welcome to Mr. Bart Avery and Miss Sandra A, the honorary commanders, and thank you for hosting a great event last week as we celebrated Jarod and the Blechers. Let's see. We're going to be back right up here, Mary, in just a couple hours. We'll do this again. But it's great to have you, as well as Chris and Jackson, joining Team Edwards. I know that you're going to find this a really rewarding, as well as a satisfying and fun adventure. All right, Jarod. So you have led the MSG with compassion, with poise, with resolve, and purpose. Your dedication to the men and women of the MSG, and I'm looking out at a lot of them, was instrumental not only in their success, but really in the success of the wider Edwards Air Force Base mission. Your tenure here, the last few years, have been marked by some really significant achievements, and I'm going to list those in a minute. But first, I do want to give gratitude where it is really due. So Lisa, you know firsthand what it means to serve, but what we've asked you to do the last 2 years is really above and beyond, and there's no TO that tells you how to do what you did. Your willingness to act as a dual parent of 5, 6 if we count Jarod. It's fair. While sustaining your own fledgling business and supporting Jarod from afar from Florida, it no doubt required superhuman stamina and fortitude. But because you did so, Jarod didn't have to worry about the family back home, and he was able to focus on the family here at Edwards, and he did so. So thank you very much for making that easy on him. I know it wasn't easy on the Blechers, and fortunately now you guys get to move on into the next chapter together. And of course, I should also thank Elena, Alex, Alyssa, Mark, and Diana as well. You also served your nation by sharing your dad with us. You didn't get a choice. Lisa may or may not have had one, but you certainly didn't get a choice. It's been fun to meet you the last couple of days and kind of share what a big deal your dad is, even if you really don't think so. Someday maybe you'll go back and watch the recording of this and you're like, oh, okay, actually Dad was something. Jarod, I know you're looking forward to being back full time with the family. Throughout the command, you were able to focus on our most important asset here at Edwards, our people. And that impact, it's been significant to those under your command, as well as those across the installation. So the scope and the responsibility of the Mission Support Group, it's vast. The 412th Test Wing, or the 412th Mission Support Group, provides mission support to over 12,000 personnel, as well as their families that are assigned to the Air Force Test Center, the 412th Test Wing, AFRL, NASA's Armstrong Flight Research Center, AFOTEC, DCMA, Plant 42. There's a total of 41 associate units on a 308,000 acre base. The Mission Support Group is responsible for all of that. It covers force protection, communications, civilian and military personnel, admin, supply, transportation, fuels, child development, youth programs and services, deployment processing, morale, welfare, recreation services, AFES, DECA, the club, our fantastic, fabulous club. Of course, we've got Joel and Bart and our incredible civil engineers. That was very well timed. To take care of the built infrastructure here, and that is no small task. But if it has to do with people, in our small town, our hometown, out there on the edge of the Mojave, we owe it to our phenomenal Mission Support Group. So on Friday at his retirement ceremony, we presented Colonel Blecher with the recognition of the Legion of Merit. And it captured a lot of the outstanding work that really the MSG has done. But I want to go through a list of just some of the things that have the MSG has done over the last couple of years, and so indulge me for just a minute as I highlight the accomplishments of this incredible team. So MSG, they partnered with our civil engineers. They successfully lobbied the Office of the Secretary of Defense for a temporary living expense extension. The impact of that, 4,500 joint service members collected reduce them, relieve them of a collective burden of $20 million by extending TLE. That is big. MSG also, they frankly turned our CDC around. That was a wing commander priority that General Heiger handed you, and you leaned into it. We had a very robust hiring and recruitment plan. We increased staff at the CDC by 50% in 4 months. The impact of that, we had an embarrassingly long wait list. That wait list was slashed by 84% because of the hiring spree and the recruiting that we went on. MSG had a big hand in running the first open house and air show in over a decade. So over 3 days, we had 120,000 people come here and visit Edwards Air Force Base, and more significantly, and more dear to my heart, 23,000 kids attended the STEM Expo, the DoD's largest STEM Expo ever. That is going to have a return on investment for years into the future. Let's see. We've increased dining options here around base. You may not appreciate that. It's kind of like turning up the water on the frog. But there's far more options now here than there were 2 years ago. We have digital menu at the club now. I see Katie back there. Fogelman's was renovated. Sometime this fall, there's going to be a new outside seating area where you can enjoy this beautiful 3-season environment that we have, as well as our phenomenal sunsets. Yeah, not right now. That's why we said the fall. So, Jarod, you also revamped the school liaison program, which I see Ms. Balkenbish out there. I'd argue we probably have the best school liaison program in the Air Force. We've got a defender in our schools now. So good partnership with the, yeah, there's Mr. Kevin Cordes right there. So speaking of Kevin Cordes, and we have a renewed relationship and a great partnership with the Muroc Joint Unified School District. We've also renewed the relationship and partnership with Palmdale and our other community leaders. So Jarod, thank you for that. And one of my personal, just inner geek favorites of all time of what the MSG has done. So, get this. We have trained and deployed an artificial intelligence neural network to scan hundreds of millions of data transactions on our network looking for malicious activity, saving 16,750 hours over the last year, and that earned the Mission Support Group the 2024 Vern Orr Award nomination. Jarod, the 412 Mission Support Group has excelled across the board under your command. We've advanced critically important projects across the installation, so thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your dedication. You and Lisa and the rest of the Blecher team have served this team, the 412 Test Wing, and our nation very well. Best wishes in retirement. I have no doubt that whatever you choose to do next, and Lisa gets more of a vote this time, you'll do it with the same passion, commitment, and energy that they gave the Air Force this last quarter of a century. Congratulations, Jarod. So, mission success ultimately and fundamentally depends on matching the right person to the right job at the right time. We are now in an era, whether you like it or not, of great power competition. It's a time of consequence, as our Air Force senior leaders remind us. And the absolute right person to take the 412 Mission Support Group is Colonel Carnduff. Chris, you join us with a wealth of joint and staff experience. Chris is a 2-time squadron commander. He's completed multiple deployments, multiple stints at the Pentagon. Most recently, he was the Chief Strategy and Plans Division at the Directorate of Civil Engineering in the Pentagon. And Chris is actually not a stranger to AFMC either. He had tours with Air Force IMSC as the Chief of the Installation Support Branch. That'll come in really handy as we support the Team Edwards here. as well as his very first assignment as a civil engineer in the 96th Air Base Wing when we had such a thing at Eglin Air Force Base. That's actually, I haven't mentioned this to you, that's where we overlapped the first time. So in fact, Chris was a baby civil engineer, and I was a baby test pilot in the 46th Test Wing when that existed. Chris was in the 96th Air Base Wing. So I remember Hurricane Ivan, 4 Hurrivacs in 2 years. So I don't think you have to worry about that, but never say never. We did have a hurricane last year, the same weekend as a change of command, so you never know. Chris has also served in the Air Force's Legislative Liaison Office. That's experience that is going to serve us very well here. Since we are inventing the future of the Air Force here, we get a lot of congressional interest in visits and congressional engagement. So you'll certainly be able to contribute to that. Off the chart leadership is a phrase and a recurring assessment that you'll see in his performance reports. That's right alongside a long, consistent string of #1 strats throughout his career. Chris holds an MBA from Webster University, as well as a Master's of Military Operational Art and Science from the Marine Corps Command and Staff College. He was a distinguished graduate from ROTC at the University of Illinois, as well as a DG from Quantico. So he is clearly a quick study. And I know that Pat, Christine, I know you guys are out there in the audience somewhere, as well as Matthew, Teresa, Brian, and Chief King. They're going to get you up to speed very quickly on the extensive mission that we have here and that you've got your hand on the tiller for. Mary and Jackson out there in Teams Land on the split screen, I want to thank you for your willingness to come here and be part of our team and continue this journey of military service. The influence and commitment to serve is strong among the Carnduffs. We'll talk about more of that later today. But Chris's father served in the Air Force for 27 years, primarily as an F-111 pilot. Chris, I'm really glad that you listened to your father. I think he might have had a small hand in joining the Air Force. We do ask and expect much from our group commanders. I'm looking at a bunch of the ones in the front row here, and they're not giving me any body language right now. So that says a lot by itself. But I want to thank you in advance for everything you're going to do to support Edwards. The life of a military family is not the easiest, and the dual military life certainly doesn't simplify that challenge. But what we are doing here is incredibly important for the peace and prosperity of our nation, and we all thank you in advance for your commitment and your service. Chris, when you take the guide on here in probably just about a minute, you're going to be answering the Air Force's greatest call, command. Command demands high professional competence, devotion to mission, uncompromising integrity, and an unwavering commitment to taking care of the people so that they can take care of the mission. You have my complete confidence in your leadership. Mission Support Group, you are fortunate to be getting an officer and leader of Colonel Carnduff's caliber to carry on and sustain the great strides forward that you've made under Colonel Blecher. Chris, it's great to have you on the board. The lead's yours.
Thank you, Colonel Wicker. Colonel Blecher will now come forward to make his final remarks. Sir, the floor is yours.
Thanks, AB. Colonel Wickert, Chief Stoltz, Jess, Dano, Mike, thanks for being here. Fellow group commanders, my peers, squadron commanders, chiefs, first sergeants. What a good-looking room. I know it's a little smaller than normal, but thanks for being here. And most importantly, airmen of the 412th Mission Support Group. Serving alongside each and every one of you as your group commander has been the privilege of my career. But I will say that when I was first notified that I was to be the 412th MSG commander, unlike that guy over there I've never been in, I was a stranger to the AFMC. I was a bit befuddled as to where the 412th was located when I was first told I was going to the 412th. And the general that told me it, I think he finally looked on my facial expression and finally told me it was Edwards. I said, oh, okay. But since I've been here, it's amazing what I have learned from all of you. and this place is absolutely amazing. A big thank you to Brigadier General Heiger and Colonel Wickert for supporting the Blecher clan when Lisa and Elena both underwent some major surgeries, for the time and the moral support, and for the initial vote of confidence in hiring me for this position from General Heiger. Zeke, I had to be the best. Rocked it. One more time, please. Yeah. Chaplain, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for your kind and very thoughtful words as well. Thank you to Lieutenant Kinley, Lieutenant Watson, Sergeant Hasenberg, Sergeant Patterson, our escorts, and your entire team. I know it takes hundreds of hours to get this going, so thank you very much. As well as all the countless others, including escorts, and for just making this happen. And as always, to the PA team back there, I think I shook most of your hands before we started. You guys rock, just for your professionalism and diligence in what you bring every day. And to the Honor Guard, they always leave before we really get to say thank you, but I got to shake their hands before we started, so thank you to them as well. And as the boss mentioned, to the Military Family Readiness Center for hosting. A huge thank you to John Anderson from AFES, the first GM, and Courtney, and I'm looking at Tiffany right there. So if you guys don't know, when the boss just mentioned all the food establishments and the food trucks, it's Tiffany right here, that young lady, that makes that happen. So thank you. Yeah. The AFES team here is so professional, and I don't think any of you out there truly understand the passion that they have for taking care of our airmen and all of you out there. So please make sure when you see them to say thank you. You guys are amazing. Kevin and Trevor, it's been a blast working and coordinating with you. All your principals and teachers, just for your passion you show in educating our country's future. We know it's an important mission. It's been a pleasure working, coordinating, and collaborating with you these last 2 years, and I think we're in a better place for sure. So thank you. This is a tough one, but Sandra and Bart, for your friendship, your compassion, all the times we shared together, and for hopefully some future trips to Florida, maybe even Maui, you never know. You and the entire Bravery crew were truly a blessing to me, and that's an understatement. Thank you, and I love you guys. Appreciate it. As General Alvin states in the Case for Change, a new inflection point is upon us. Change is not an option, but a necessity, and that change starts here at Edwards in the 412 Test Wing. The document further states there are 4 core areas that demand our attention: how we develop our people, generate readiness, project power, and develop capabilities. All 4 of these focus areas begin at the 412 Test Wing, who will continue to rise to the challenge, and I know that you will all remain aligned and focused on remaining competitive. Between the innovative Ellington Airman Leadership School curriculum, innovation accomplished in all 4 squadrons, from software development increases, improved vehicle maintenance practices and in-check, base defense improvements, I'm really excited about those. The many improvements at Club Muroc, our amazing marketing team over in FSS, and a whole host of others, and I know I can't mention them all. Members of the 412th MSG consistently punch above our weight class every day to provide world-class installation support 365 days a year. I think of myself as an inquisitive, more so, and not a micromanager, and that I asked questions while golfing with Don on the golf course so I could learn about his job in the golf course management. The random questions I would ask Katie about how Club Muroc operates, various questions to the Cyberhawks about software development process and the tech refresh plan, the Cable Dogs' diligence and technical proficiency, our TDM switchover was cool, and the uniqueness of our LRS and our customers from far and wide that we support, like the Navy. And the stringent requirements laid forth to us in operating a child development center, and our defenders' professionalism in defending 308,000 acres with no perimeter fence. From the October 22 air show and open house and STEM Expo that the boss mentioned, Sergeant Spears again roaming the Muroc Joint Unified Schools on base, the communication lines with the Muroc School District and leadership paired with the booming school liaison program that was again alluded to earlier, to the additional eating options thanks to our mission partner at AFES. This space stands from an installation support perspective better than when I arrived, thanks to all of you. All because the professional airmen, again, across the 4 squadrons tackled challenges as they were presented or even ahead of time. Proud to be. Well, that was pretty good. I viewed my responsibility as getting the 412th MSG Airmen, competing for the name on the back of their jersey and not the one on the front, or really that one right there. It isn't about any of the 4 squadrons in the MSG. It all revolves around the greater good for our Air Force and the United States of America in this great power competition we find ourselves in. When you pause and think about the mission support group, and although we are all Grizzlies, We are also Defender, Cyberhawk, Jackalope, and Titan nations. Thus, there are at least 4 cultures, if not more, in the group. A variable that I don't think many other groups have, in my opinion. But I couldn't have been more proud during the last Testing award ceremony when I heard each squadron screaming out the other squadron's chant when someone won. That is camaraderie, that is teamwork, and we were the loudest, no doubt. No. You provided mentorship to young and older airmen, comfort to families in need. You offered sage advice to me each and every day. Communicated and collaborated to ensure the 412th Test Wing succeeds. It was indeed an honor and a privilege to witness what you all accomplish every day. On a different note, and although many of my peers I served alongside for the last 2 years have since PCS'd, this is a public shout out to them for the banter that we shared and laughed at when they would ask me questions that happened to be outside the purview of the MSG, and then how I responded to them. I will miss those laughs at our breakfast and whiskey Thursdays. A special thanks to Brian for our constant chats, bouncing ideas off each other, and your extreme professionalism and subject matter expertise that you bring to every conversation every day. I will miss our chats. I really will. Thank you to Chief Swiss and Chief King for your experience, your guidance, your vision, and then the passion that you bring, and specifically you, Chief King, for all you bring to professional development and leadership. To Wanda, Jackie, Kathy, Kiki for keeping me straight. Tall order, probably, taller than me. And you 4 made it look easy. I appreciate that we could have some laughs in the front office and make our job fun, just like we talked about this morning, Wanda. The shirt, where is the shirt? Oh, yeah, hey. The fact that you stepped up and you're doing what you're doing is amazing, and you are an amazing airman and a professional, so thanks, shirt. Chris, bottom line, you're in good hands with the airmen of the 412th MSG. I know you will take the 3 priorities of Colonel Wickert and really tackle them and get after them. And forgive me for saying this, and let me do this by myself, okay? You can't chime in, all right? I've always wanted to do this because if it's in the air, MSG put it there. I had to say it. Just once. Diana, Elena, Alex, Alicia, and Mark, words can't describe the last 2 years of separation. And we've seen difficult times again between the 2 major surgeries, driving lessons by your mom and not me. Yeah, I saw that look. Missing prom and birthdays and so many other events, but the time is very, very near, and I love you guys dearly. Lastly, to my beautiful and talented wife, Lisa, for making it through the last 2 years. You carried the load at the house, you drove 110,000 miles on a car that's 3 years old, driving kids around to a plethora of activities, taught the twins how to drive, maybe, I don't know. Continued ramping up your business all the while suffering in physical pain, so thank you. I love you one more time. Proud to be MSG!
Thank you, Colonel Blecher. Colonel Blecher will now receive his final salute as the commander of the 412th Mission Support Group from Chief Master Sergeant Jermaine King. Colonel Wickert and Colonel Carnduff, please join Colonel Blecher at center stage for the change of command ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand.
Publish the order.
Today's change of command ceremony is deeply rooted in military tradition and dates back to the reign of King Frederick of Prussia. During this time, organizational flags were developed with color arrangements and symbols unique to each unit. When a change of command was to take place, the outgoing commander would pass the flag to the individual assuming command. This gesture was accomplished in front of the unit so all could see and witness their new leader assuming command. This symbolic tradition has survived through military history and will be a part of our ceremony today. Attention to orders. Department of the Air Force Headquarters, United States Air Force, Washington, D.C. Special Order Number, General Order 24-16, dated 15 July 2024, under the provisions of Air Force Instruction 51-604, by order of Colonel Douglas P. Wickert, Commander, 412th Test Wing, Colonel Jarod P. Blecher relinquishes command, and Colonel Christopher J. Carnduff assumes command as Commander, 412th Business Support Group, effective 15 July 2024.
Sorry, but
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, the commander of the 412th Mission Support Group, Colonel Christopher J. Carnduff.
All right, well, good morning, everyone. Thank you. Thanks so much for attending, especially Chief and Mrs. Stoltz, Mr. Osborne, all the commanders, directors, chiefs, and especially guests from the local community as well. I know we've got a lot here, and that's really critical to the work that we do. Colonel Wickert, thank you so much for presiding over today's ceremony, the complimentary comments, and thank you for the trust and confidence in my ability to lead these great airmen of the 412th MSG. Thanks to my family, Mary that's here, Jackson, and Mom and Dad who are watching on Stream Live. Thanks so much for the support that you've provided so far in my career and the support that will be needed to make this next adventure a positive experience. Really appreciate it. Colonel Blecher, thanks to you and your family for your leadership and commitment over the last 2 years. You've obviously led this group to great successes. I'm really humbled by the opportunity to follow in your footsteps. Thanks, Jarod. And a huge thanks to the team that organized and facilitated today's change of command, Lieutenant Watson, Lieutenant Kinley, Sergeant Hasenberg, Sergeant Patterson, National Anthem Singer Chaplain. Thank you. That was amazing. I know that it's never easy to put one of these things on. Y'all made it look easy, and really, really appreciate the great job that you did. So round of applause. I'm so excited to join the Edwards team and contribute to the mission of testing and evaluating advanced aerospace systems to accelerate war-winning capabilities to our warfighter. I'm looking forward to continuing quality of life improvements, developing our people, and strengthening our teams. To the over 1,400 members of the MSG, I'm thrilled to join this incredible organization and accomplish our group's mission to deliver combat and test-enabling mission support to over 12,000 personnel and 50 mission partners across or assigned to Edwards Air Force Base. I'm committed to ensuring this installation continues to excel as the center of the aerospace testing universe by focusing on our readiness, responsiveness, and resiliency. And I'm committing to ensuring you and your families work and live in an environment that promotes safety, mutual respect and dignity, and personal growth. Thanks again to everyone that's made today possible. I'm excited for this amazing opportunity to lead great airmen as we test tomorrow's war-winning capabilities today. I'm very proud to be MSG. Thank you all.
Thank you, Colonel Carnduff. Colonel Carnduff will now receive his first salute as commander of the 412th Mission Support Group from Chief Master Sergeant Jermaine King. Colonel Christopher Carnduff and Colonel Mary Carnduff, the members of the 412th Mission Support Group, welcome you. Teammates, please stand and join us in singing the Air Force song, followed by the departure of the official party.